I wonder if Cash Jordan. I wonder if Cash Jordan got anything new. So like this one's 4 hours ago, but then this one was 10 hours ago. I don't like which one? This one or like Portland self destructs? I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of feeling this one. I'm kind of feeling this one. Like,
all right, now to this. Leaders in Portland, Oregon are pushing back against President Trump's attempt to clean up crime, including his plan to send in National Guard troops. Despite the success.
actually, no, small pause, right? So, I want to like implement games, right, into my channel. Obviously, I've mentioned that since the jump, since day one, right? I go play Final Sentence like earlier on my laptop, right? I played it earlier. I kid you not. I boot up one lobby. Shit's going smoothly. Shit's cool. And then once you go into a secondary game, once you go into a second game after you won or lost, this shit self-destructs. I had to reboot my laptop over and over and over again. It got so bad to the point that I'm thinking like, oh shit, I probably won't even stream today. Because, yeah, like I've been having such bad luck. I'm thinking like my laptop is just gonna freaking explode. Like, yo. Speaking of laptop though, it's my 37 up. I put on the battery.
We've seen in other cities.
So, with endless rioting and out-of-control crime everywhere, Portland has officially reached its breaking point. But even though anti-ICE mobs have put this place on the map recently, its businesses
what the fuck
and
is that, bro?
ICE.
Holy Tubby.
Portland has officially reached its breaking point. But even though anti-ICE mobs have put this place
looking like the Hamburglar on a fucking Monday.
On the map recently, its businesses and residents have been struggling for years under the weight of a crime avalanche that shows no signs of slowing down. And what Portland's progressive leaders don't want you to know is that it all just keeps getting worse.
Contrary to President Trump's latest social media post, Portland is not.
You know the funny part about this? Well, it's not really funny, but looking at this, with how Sora came out and everything, this feels like AI. I know this ain't AI, but this almost feels like AI. Can y'all believe AI is getting to the point where it just emulates social media posts like this? And then just wait for like the point of time where AI becomes so like sentient that it can replicate these things without any type of like mistake. The background doesn't look staticky. There's no missing legs, missing arms. There's nothing contorted or weird. It just follows its prompt. Like, yo, that's gonna be crazy.
Social media posts, Portland is not war ravaged. Military service members should be dedicated to real emergencies.
You know, it's sad. No security. It's like every man for themselves.
Well, it makes us feel unsafe, especially when the assaults are happening in our blocks.
The president wants to help these local leaders who have been completely ineffective in securing their own cities. And we have already seen there's a positive formula for that. Look at Washington, D.C.
If you come around the corner and take a look at this side window, nearly shattered, all signs of recent break-ins, and unfortunately you can find this on all the shops up and down this block. New business owners are now calling these break-ins almost like a rite of passage for working downtown.
It's just creating a fertile ground for just craziness and dangerous conditions.
Some are now taking new measures to protect themselves.
I did buy some mace because I realized you got to protect yourself. You know, there's no police to come to your rescue.
So instead of jailing the criminals, closing Portland businesses, Portland's new bright.
What the fuck? wants to conduct exit interviews of closing businesses. Dude, exit interviews, bro, they're done. They're wasted. They're tired of this shit. But you want to conduct exit interviews? You want to hold them up even more? Bro, people don't want to deal with this stuff. You guys can't keep the crime on the down low. You can't keep it down to a minimum. You guys aren't doing your jobs. And yet you want to conduct exit interviews? Huh? Like,
the idea is to ask those businesses what it is that finished them off. But that's because nobody running this place understands that Portland has entered late-stage progressivism where everything collapses and nothing can stop it. Which is why the president is talking about military troops on Portland streets. Their danger is the predictable outcome of decriminalizing theft, robbery, and assault. And the streets are now so unsafe that when some businesses open, they get looted immediately, almost as a rite of passage just for existing. And with sanctuary thugs lurking around every corner, even places that know how to survive also know the next robbery isn't too far away. Which reveals all the rioting we're seeing in Portland today. It's just icing on the cake of decay this place has just been feasting on for years. Because the truth is that crime has been forcing achievers and builders out of Portland for so long it now ranks dead last as far as investability is concerned. And things have gotten so bad, the only folk coming here to accomplish anything are sanctuary criminals and Antifa rebels who see their American dream in a crime-ridden progressive nightmare that's going to enable them. And that brings us to the real reason Portland is such a disaster. As a 100% progressive city, everything this place stands for is so obviously anti-American, it needs help before it collapses and takes the rest of the country along with it. But that help ain't coming from within. Oh no, especially when the hands-off police just hang out while Antifa rips this place apart.
I hate the fact that our tax dollars have to go to these scumbags that aren't doing shit. When it goes to these scumbags that aren't doing shit, that really messes. Oh my gosh, that grinds my gears. Like, enough jokes. I'm so dead ass. That bothers me. That really does bother me. And then it really just perpetuates this. It further perpetuates this image of the good officials that are trying to uphold the justice and the peace of the civilians. The fact that you guys are just standing around collecting the paycheck, collecting our tax dollars to do nothing, to just be NPCs. You guys are literal NPCs. GTA 5 police over here, bro. What are you doing? Do something.
Hands-off police just hang out while
horrible. And their gear sucks. They look like fucking British police.
Antifa rips this place apart, jumping to their duties only when the hordes
y'all might as well dress up like the Pacific Blue niggas and just ride on bicycles. Y'all ain't doing nothing. That's crazy.
Tell them a guy in a Trump hat might have been spotted nearby, while allowing this every single day. So these mobs are allowed by the local government to attack a federal building, and they've been doing it for 4 months in a row now. And they're even renting storage units next to this place where they keep their Home Depot body armor and other tools used in their insurrection. But here's the thing, you don't get to a point where your city has a lawless no-go zone in it unless the whole place is packed with other problems and is just a magnet for criminals of all backgrounds.
After a 3-day manhunt, federal authorities say they arrested Alvaro Flores Barboza in Portland, Oregon. He's accused of busting out of the ICE Northwest Detention Center in Tacoma, Washington, more than 140 miles away. Law enforcement sources say the 24-year-old is an illegal immigrant with alleged ties to violent Venezuelan street gang Tren de Aragua.
Right, so if Tren de Aragua gang member...
So if we backtrack though, the fact that he escaped the detention facility like that, these motherfuckers are supposed to be top notch. They're supposed to be like the be all end all, right? These are These are like the chosen ones that this motherfucker is sending out there to capture these guys and, you know, do whatever, right? And then it's just so easy for him to just slip out like that. Like, huh? That's he's supposed to be like a drug. He's supposed to be like a drug, like a fucking drug lord, and you just let him slip out that easily. He just see you guys, and you guys didn't peep. You guys didn't notice.
Tacoma, Washington, more than 140 miles away. Law enforcement sources say the 24-year-old is an illegal immigrant with alleged ties to violent Venezuelan street gang Tren de Aragua.
Right, so if Tren de Aragua gang members who have already been apprehended, are very dangerous, and are about to get deported, are able to flee somehow, where do they go? They go to Portland. That's ridiculous. Because they know they'll be safe here. Look at the legions of brainwashed hordes charging federal agents for absolutely no reason other than...
Well, I mean, to be real, I'm not gonna lie. These motherfuckers are smart, but I don't think in the moment, him fleeing, going 140 miles over to Portland, I don't think he was thinking like, oh yeah, this is the safest place to go. It was more so, I got no choice. I gotta go somewhere. You know what I mean? It was just the fact that it was the closest area to go to. It's not about like, oh yeah, they don't enforce the law over here, so guess what? I'm in the clear. I don't think he was thinking about that. I just think he was thinking about getting out of the state. Cause yeah, Washington now is looking for you, bro.
To keep federal fugitives on the streets as long as possible. Streets which have become so unsafe, the law-abiding steer clear of them. If your government is so hands-off, that's what your sidewalks are looking like, you know the writing is on the wall for this place. And the thing nobody here wants to discuss is how bad this is for anybody who wants to achieve something. In fact, allowing rampant crime and disorder just forces out people who don't want that, like families, businesses, companies, anyone with a future, especially when nobody seems to go to jail for crimes like the one you're about to see.
Shocking moments of an armed thief robbing Mousetrap Tavern caught on camera.
Terrible.
The thief going behind the counter, pointing a gun at customers and an employee. The employee declined to speak with Fox 12, but owner Paula Hillen says she is rattled but strong.
She held it together pretty well. I'm worried about what she might feel like when she gets home tonight and realizes that she had a gun pointed at her.
The thief made...
What? Look at this. The sun is out. This happened in broad daylight. This criminal did not care for the cover of darkness. Didn't matter to him what time it was. He just wanted to go in there when he could steal something.
Listen, Cash, he is the darkness, bro. Look at him. He's dressed in all black. He's dressed in all black, just committed one of the more like crazy, like more tamer crimes, but in a crazier mindset. Like, who just says, you know what, at the crack of dawn, I'm gonna just go up into a bar and try to rob it. It's robbing season, sure, it's robbing season, but like, bro, what the yo.
And look, if your businesses are getting robbed like this in the middle of the day, they're not gonna make it. But here we are in the capital of Western progressivism, where you can do whatever
in the capital.
Make it. But here we are in the capital of Western progressivism, where you can do whatever you want as long as it's evil, whether it's rioting, littering, assaulting others, or stealing. Because in a progressive society, the criminals, they're the victims. And it's always the fault of the law-abiding who are victimized that they were taken advantage of in the first place. Because in America, the law-abiding benefit from things like capitalism and every other societal injustice the people in Portland think exists.
The thief made it out with $3,500.
Wow.
And Hillen says
nice
the tavern
car,
just faced another armed robbery earlier this year. She says this is making her consider closing a 40-year family-run business.
Right, so after 40 years, this place just can't take it anymore. They're getting robbed so often that when they get up in the morning and they open up their business, all they can imagine is how today is going to be worse than yesterday. That's so depressing and so awful. Meanwhile, all the other businesses around them are shutting down too. In fact, there are so many criminals watching these places. It's amazing any of them are still around for these news reports, especially when empty storefronts litter Portland, making it a place that is so unsafe. Any business that dares turn its lights on immediately becomes a glowing target for hordes of crooks.
So, like, who you think's in the running for worse, like, for, like, in terms of crime, right? Who you think's worse right now? New York or Portland? I gotta know, who you think is worse, New York or Portland? Because shit's getting bad with New York, but Portland, mixed with the drug epidemic as well, it's like, whew,
Two local business owners want to see disappear.
Amy, you have 2 businesses in Portland, 2 restaurants. Has crime impacted your businesses?
Yes, absolutely. In fact, yesterday morning, I was broken again for the 10th time. I will say that the police responded very quickly, which was better ticket times as far as getting them to the site quicker. So that was very helpful.
Wow. How do you feel about National Guard in Portland?
Wow.
What do you think about that? What are your thoughts?
We need help here, and something needs to be done. So
you can hear the exhaustion in her voice, broken into 10 times. That's crazy. And okay, maybe the police were faster this time, but it's not even up to the police. How do police stop crime in a place that protects criminals and releases them from jail, doesn't hold them accountable for whether or not they show up to their court date? And if they show up to their court date, gives them a slap on the wrist, light sentence. Nobody is going to jail for the types of crime we're looking at here. That's why it's happening all the time. We're training criminals by not punishing them, and businesses are paying the price for that. And look at this. This article right here explains how this state has a catch and release system for criminals, which is essentially a revolving door jail. They get arrested, they're immediately released, they never show up to trial, the process repeats itself. I mean,
it reminds me of there was like this recent story came out about this guy. He got locked up like 14 different times, and then he finally took somebody's life. And it's like, dude, how do you get locked up like 14 different times and you're still out here, not just wilding out, but these motherfuckers sitting in their seats. The law is letting you loose. The law is letting you loose. Like, how? I don't understand.
All a system like this does is teach criminals how to not get caught next time, so they don't have to waste their time in the back of a police car when they could be out living a life of crime.
I realize federal law enforcement isn't going to help the actual business owners in the city, but it's drawing attention to where this is the first time the news media has picked up any of our stories. Anytime we come forward in Portland, Oregon, we have city officials come after us. We get targeted. It's so I like the idea of having them here because it's bringing attention to where there is a serious problem in Portland. Portland is not okay. Governor Kotex, Mayor Wilson continues to repeatedly say to the Oregonians that Oregon is okay and Portland is okay, and it's not.
No.
If it was okay, my insurance would not be labeled as sabotage and terrorism and malicious attacks light. That's my insurance policy, which...
Okay, so this right here totally blows up the progressive argument for allowing crime. The progressive argument for allowing crime is that putting people in jail is worse for society than leaving them on the streets. And it's okay to leave people on the streets because all of these places have insurance, but the insurance doesn't stay at some low rate. Anybody who's ever dealt with an insurance company fully understands that if you're going to make claims against that insurance policy, they're going to make sure you're paying for future claims in advance. Your premiums go through the roof. And you know what?
Like, they really do be sleazy with that shit. Like, you want to mess with big corporations, these big like conglomerates, you want to like rumble with them? Well, guess what? Now they're gonna tickle your pockets. They're gonna tickle the fuck out of your pockets. You think your pockets were already dry? Just wait till they reach like the Arizona deserts, motherfucker. Just look.
That means these businesses, they have to cut back.
Just look at what happens.
On a whole bunch of stuff. They got to hire less people. And to an extent, these local Portlanders out there that might be voting for decriminalization, well, they're paying the price for decriminalization too, because if you want to go to a restaurant, that's open, the only way it's surviving is because it's figured out a way to deal with sky-high insurance, as few staff as possible, and part of the way they deal with that is by raising their prices. So whatever prices you're paying at the store, whatever prices you're paying on the menu at some bar or restaurant, has to include the fact that this place could get robbed at any moment in broad daylight and get fully cleaned out.
My insurance policy, which has tripled, mind you, since 2022.
Wow.
Tripled in 3 years.
What's it like doing business in Portland? I mean, what about taxes, fees, and you just mentioned insurance. They're all going up, I take it.
Yeah, insurance went up 3 times as much since 2022. And like I said, it's labeled as a sabotage and terrorism insurance with a policy of malicious attack light. So it is, and it's not just me, it's multiple business owners in downtown Portland. And I think it's just the core central. I can't speak for all business owners. But like January 1st, the health...
Okay, so this is a big problem. Fees for businesses. This is another part of the equation, because these progressive cities, they sabotage themselves, because the way they get to becoming these places that just attract criminals and people who want to be wards of the state is they give them all kinds of stuff for free, which Portland does. It subsidizes crime. It subsidizes lawlessness. It protects illegal fugitives from the federal government. But the only way you can do that, the only way you can give away enough freebies to get all the criminals and all the fugitives to want to come to you first, is if you're taking that money from somebody. And who are you going to get that money from? You're going to get that money from the people that come here and want to start businesses. But when those places leave, well, now you've got less people to take money from. And what you have to do is you have to raise the amount of money you take from the people who are left. And at the exact same time, as businesses close down because of crime and theft, there are now fewer stores that are open, and all of the criminals out there now have to concentrate their attention on the places that are still remaining. You see, these businesses, they are getting pounded from both ends, and it's just absolutely terrible.
Insurance is going, or self-department fees is going up 33%. OLCC went up. Our utility bills went up $1,000 a month. It's just constant taxes after taxes. My only disappointment in the whole administration coming in the way that they did was that the governor passed a transportation bill of $4.3 billion that's going to affect Oregonians and hurt a lot of us in Oregonians and making it even more unaffordable to live. And that has gotten buried in the headlines because of what's happening federally.
It's really a damn shame, you know? It's really a damn shame. Like, a lot of people just be snapping and crashing out and stuff, and it's totally understandable when you have to live under conditions like this, especially in a state like Oregon, in a city like Portland, with all these different, you know, situations that are going on. It's like you got to keep your head on a swivel. Like, your head's like a revolving door. You got to look every single way. You got to look left, you got to look right, up, down. You got to do circles, you got to do twirls, you got to you got to be attentive to all these like different changes, and the fact that it just gets worse and worse. It's not getting any better. It's so sad.
Thank you very much for coming on the show. And
I can't imagine living over there, bro. Especially right now. I can't.
Telling us exactly what it's like.
Well, look, I got news for you. Whatever they just passed, it's been passed. It's gonna take effect. And you know what? All these progressive cities pass transportation bills that mess up their population. Just look at New York with their congestion pricing. So we've got to put that to the side. The real problem front and center here is you've got so much lawlessness. These places are in immense danger. They need total regime change from top to bottom. And the only way you're going to get that is if you get rid of the criminals that are the power base in places like Portland, Oregon. You think Portland, Oregon would be this radical home base for Antifa and this place that every federal fugitive thinks about coming to the moment they escape from jail? If you start removing those people from the streets and locking them up, of course not. It wouldn't be that way. People would say, you know what, I'm not going to go out and assault federal agents today because I could go to jail for for that. You know what? I'm not going to go to Portland and hide out there from the federal government and as an illegal immigrant, because in Portland, they cooperate with the federal government and they'll turn me over to ICE if I commit a crime and get arrested, and I'll be sent back to the country I am legally entitled to reside in, which is not the United States. What do you think about all that? Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. What do you think is going to be done about Portland? Do you think the Insurrection Act is important if that is put into effect?
It's not important, bro, because, listen, it's just going to keep getting worse. I hate to be the Debbie Downer and everything and just saying, yo, like, it's not going to get better for people, and the fact that it's going to get worse, and the fact that people are just going to fall further down. But it's like, dude, it's like, bro,